Jan-based training. Learn and grow.
So today, fifth session, we are going to talk. We are in currently, and this will be something related to the extensions of Tableau, which we have talked a bit yesterday. Today, we'll be just continuing with that, and then the calculated field. That's the most important one. So we are just going to, refresh it. TWB. That's basically, Tableau workbook file extension. Workbook hold one or more worksheet and dashboard along with the stories. So that's basically like the entire file that we are working on. You can save it in TWB format and it will store everything apart from the data. Then we have some, a new file format called as, or extension you can say called as tbm.tbm. That's basically the bookmark we are having. Bookmarks are something, we are having a lot of files over there, right? Like a lot of worksheets over there. Like we have line chart, we have bar chart, deviation chart, histogram, multiple things we are having, right? So if you will save it, like currently I have saved it and it has been saved with the name demo.twb, right? So usually what happens whenever you will work on a bigger project, there are high chances that you will end up creating hundreds of worksheets, tens of dashboard, tens of stories. So basically what I mean to say is there will be a lot of files, right? So when you deal with a lot of files, right, and you want to just save a single worksheet or single dashboard, in that case the tbm file format will be helpful to you. This is basically called as Tableau bookmarks, and it contains just a single worksheet whatever you want to store. When it will be helpful, now let's understand that you are working some kind of report for your entire organization, right? So when you are working for entire organization, that then it will be something like, you might work for your HR department, you might work for finance, marketing, training department, sales department. Means there will be multiple verticals involved in this, right? And now tomorrow someone from let's say marketing department has asked you to provide some kind of dashboard or share the sheet that you're working on. So it might not be, you might not be in a good condition to share the entire workbook. You might want to share only the desired workbook, which they are intended for, means the workbook related to the marketing only. So in all those cases, this Tableau bookmark will be helpful to you. You can save a single worksheet, can share with them, right? This not only saves your time, but it also saves the space as well, right? Along with that, your data is not getting exposed to the third party. Means the data from education department, the data from marketing department might not be exposed to the sales department. So in those cases, you can save it in Tableau bookmark format. Then we have something called a TWBX, which we have already discussed. It's a basically packaged workbook. When you need, TWB format along with the data, this is something, you can access with. But remember, whenever we work with TWBX format also, you, even if you share this with others, people won't have the access to the original data source. They won't be having. For example, let's say you have connected your Tableau with SQL Server, right? And you are sharing that report in TWBX format to someone else. In that case, although the data will be shared, but the people won't be having, the receiver won't be having access to the SQL Server. No, they won't be, right? But yes, whatever data you have used in the dashboard, it will be accessible to the the person who have received the dashboard. So understand the differences. Although the data will be accessible, but only those data which you have used as a part of the dashboard. If the other person is trying to create something more on additional data on the data source, it won't be available to them. So that's basically TWBX, and it makes sense also. Like even if someone don't have the access to the source data, how can they work further on it? So in TWBX, only the content data will be accessible, not the new data or not the refresh data. Something means the data coming from source won't be accessible. That I mean to say. We also have something called as .hyper or .td format. So in the prior version of Tableau, .td was something being used. In the newer version, we are using .hyper format. Yesterday I shown you also, even when you created the extract, it was by default saved in .hyper format itself, right? So if you want to save the extract information on your system, you can basically save it in .hyper format. Then we have something called a TDS format. TDS is nothing but a data source format, right? data source file are shortcuts for quickly connecting to the original data sources. I can show you something here. If you will go to data source pane, yeah, sample EU superstore, sample superstore word indicator. So if you will go to my Tableau repository again, right, and inside the data sources, select the version where you are working. For you, it might be 2020.2, right, and then the language. You will find these kind of data sources available. So see here, sample EU superstore.tds, sample superstore.tds, right, world indicator.tds. These are basically your Tableau data sources. As you can see the type written over here, right? So these are the Tableau data sources. See here, dot hyper was the Tableau extract. Okay. So these data sources we can create. These are basically a kind of shortcut we are having for the original data sources. So Tableau data source file that have Tableau .tds extension, as you can see it over here, are basically the shortcut for quickly connecting to the original data source that we use often. So let's say they are, you are connecting to SQL Server very frequently, right? So instead of connecting every time, instead of putting the username, password, server name, database name all the time, what you can do is you can quickly create a shortcut for it. So data source file means this TDS file will not contain the actual data, but the information necessary to connect the actual data, right? Means it will have all the schema information which will be basically used to connect to your original data. So it's like, let's say you have to open some software, right? So you don't go to that command prompt, run the software, all the time. What you do, you simply go to your desktop, you add an icon, right? And next time when you want to open that software, you just click on that icon and that software is getting opened. Exactly the same thing, this TDS file does for us. It basically works as a shortcut for the original data sources. Just click on it, just use it, and it will do the required things. Like it will connect to the data source, it will pull to the data and will give it to you. If you have made some changes on the original data, all those will be accessible whenever you are accessing it through TDS also. What I mean to say is, let's say you connected something through, you have this Tableau, right, and you connected this to this data sources, right? Let's say this is SQL and you work on it, you worked on some transformation, or let's say you created something, and then on top of this you have created something called as TDS files, right? This TDS file will basically act like a shortcut for it. So whatever changes you have done, right, all those changes will be saved in the SQL Server itself. But whenever you are trying to open this through TDS, it will be also accessible the same. So whatever upgrade you will make on the backend, the same thing will get reflected to your TDS files also. Although this is a shortcut, but yes, it will point to the most updated information for you. That's the beauty about the TDS file formats. So usually, like, I work a lot on Azure Data Lake. I work a lot on SQL Server. I work a lot on Cloud Data Warehouse. Even I work, a lot on, some additional data sources like MongoDB, big data systems. So what I have done, I have created multiple TDS files for all these data sources, so that every time I don't have to, basically connect to the original data source again and again. All the information will be saved here. I just double click on it, gives the required information. Something like this. Now go to data sources and this welcome button, right? And now see here, this is sample EU superstore, sample superstore word indicator. These are the saved data sources. What I'll do, I'll just click it over there, right? And now you can see this world indicator has been enabled for us. Let me quickly, do something. Let's first delete this one. Okay, yeah, and make it TDS. Yeah. So now, as you can see, we are having, the world indicator data source available. So we are having a lot of column like business related, development related, health related, population related. And now, whatever you want, you can simply use it. That's basically, the beauty of this particular data sources. I don't have to, even I don't know what exactly this is. If I'll right click on it, see the properties of it, it says basically it's a hyper format. See here, it's a hyper format, it's an extract, right? But I don't care about it, what exactly it is. I needed it and I simply added it, right? So that's basically the beauty of this, TDS file format. It basically acts like a shortcut to your original data sources. It has all the information that you require to connect to the original data sources. It contains all the information that you need to, create your report, to get the data and work on the data. So that's basically data source. And we have a packaged version of this data source also. The same way we have a packaged version of TWB, we have a packaged version of TDS also. That's called as tdsx, package data sources, right? It will be basically a zipped file that contains the data source, whatever we had earlier, right? And extract file also. So this tdsx is the combination of TDS and hyper, right? TDS and hyper are the combination of tdsx file format. So these are the different file formats we have available. You might use some of these, in your tenure for some purposes. So just remember a few most important one that you might need on daily basis. It will be TWB, TWBX, TDE, which is basically the hyper file format, TDS file format, and TBM file format. So these are something we use a lot. TWB is the workbook. TWBX package workbook. Hyper is used for the extract information. TDS is for data source, and TBM is for bookmark. Whenever you need to, simply share a single report, single worksheet, then this TBM file format will be helpful to you. So let's move further and talk about something called as calculated field, right? So calculated field, as I told you earlier also, it's basically a feature in Tableau which help you to write all the custom kind of code those we have available, right? So calculated field allow you to create new data from the data that's already in your data source. And when you create a calculated field, you essentially create a new column, right? So calculated field is something like in Excel. We create the new column the same way. If you have to create the new column in Tableau, you can create something called as calculated field. So depending upon the output of the calculated field, that calculated field might be in the form of a dimension, or it might be in the form of a measure. So let's say you created a calculated field whose output is something numerical in nature, right? So that can be in the measure field, measure section. If it's something like discrete in nature, right, that might be in the form of a dimension. So no matter what you are creating, but yeah, it will be in the form of a particular column only. New calculated field that you are creating will be saved in your data source in Tableau and used to create more visualization. What I mean to say is whatever data calculated field you will create, although you are creating it from your side, it's not a part of your data source, but yes, it will be included in the data source. So next time whenever you are sharing the data source to someone in the TDS file format, that calculated field will be also included in it, right? It will be also, that's why I was saying, like whatever changes you will make every time whenever you are connecting it with TDS file formats, the updated information will be shared with them. That's the same thing. We are creating a calculated field. Whenever next time we want to see it, right, that field will be included as well. There are multiple occasions when you have to use the calculated field. I can tell you one of the easiest one which we have already worked with. So if you guys remember, we worked with something called as deviation chart. Remember deviation chart? Someone will ask me to create something like, currently it's the diverging color, right? You can see the lower profit, less red it is, like, light red it is, the higher loss, darker red it is, the higher profit, darker green it is, lesser profit, lighter green it is, right? But let's say your client told you that we don't need something like this. We just want, like, all the profits should be in the green color and all the losses should be in the red color. What you will do? In those cases, to segment your data, this calculated field can be helpful to you. Go back here. So for the data segmentation, you might use it. If you have to convert something, right? If you have to extract some information from, an existing field, like let's say you have a field, something like country and state, and you want to get only a state, calculated field can do that work for you. If you want to, let's say find date difference, like let's say you have a column called as date of birth, right? And if you want to extract the age of that particular person, you can use the calculated field to find the age. You can create like profit percentage, profit discount ratio, discount percentage. You can filter the result and many more. Anything which directly you cannot do in Tableau, you can do with the help of this calculated field. So we are going to create some calculated field for today. So what we will do, we will go ahead and create some calculated field. The first one we'll do for this particular example itself. So now what I want is, I don't want, the diverging color. So I'm just removing the sum of profit. Okay. Or let's keep it. I can duplicate it directly. So right click on this particular worksheet and select duplicate. Okay, and just name it calculated field 1. Okay, what I want now is I just want to make all the losses in the red color, all the profits in the green color. So what I'm going to do is I'll simply remove the sum of profit, and now I'll create a calculated field for this. How you will create it? Just click on this icon, select create calculated field, and name it. So I'm just naming it something like profit loss color, right? So that I can easily identify why I created this. Now we have to create a unique calculated field which will tell me, like, if we have a negative profit, then it should be in green color. If we have a profit in positive, like we have a profit, then it should be in the green color. Means negative loss should be in red, profit should be in green. So Tableau, although Tableau uses something like SQL itself, right, but it has something different. Remember I told you something like basic QL, visualization query language, right? So it work on that. So although it's, I can say like around 90% it will be same as SQL, but yes, there are some differences. 10% of differences are there. The first thing is wait till the time Tableau shows you the suggestions, right? So if you write if in a small, it won't take it. So make sure you are writing if, or the best option is just wait, write something and wait for the Tableau to show you the suggestions, right? So with I, Tableau has got these many functions. As you can see, Tableau has got a lot of functions with I. See, if null, if include, a lot of those are there. So just wait and select from the suggestions. If now we have to work on profit, but remember, whenever we are working with any measure, measures will be taken on the aggregate levels, right? So the same aggregate level you have to put it in the calculated fields as well. So as you can see, profit is taking the aggregation at summation level. So you need to use summation level aggregation here also. So what I'll do, I'll write if summation of sum of profit, right? I can say, look for the summation and select whatever I'm looking for. So if summation of profit is greater than 0, right, then I'm just making it like it's profit. Simple. Else, it's a loss. Getting it? Now, if this could have been SQL, it should have worked, but here it's showing you the error. You can check this particular space to look for whether you have error or not. So it says the calculation contains error. You can click on it for the suggestions. So it says expected end to match if at character 0. What does that mean? That means, like, Tableau expect you to write something called as end at the end of the query. When you will write end, Tableau will consider that, okay, you are done with your query, and that it need to evaluate it, or it need to check it, right? So every query that you write should end with end statement, right? So now I have written end here. Now it says the calculation is valid. Okay, once done, you can click on apply, or you can click on OK, right? I'm just clicking on OK. Apply, you can use, like, let's say you are using this profit loss in this particular worksheet, and if you want to change, you want to see the impact of it, you can just click on apply, right? And impact will be there, right? As we are not using it, so OK will work for us. Now you will see a measure has been created, right, with profit loss color, with the name profit loss color. You can see it's in blue. That means it's a discrete value for now, right? But it's a major field. Now what you have to do is we should have two options over there. Let me show you what I mean to say. If I will drag this profit loss color, see here, we are getting two options or one option. Okay, we are getting one option currently, right? This is aggregated. Or let's use this here itself and see what's happening. So now, as we have to work on the color shelf, right? So you need to drag this particular option to the color shelf. Let's drag it. See, did you see the changes? Now, all the negative profits, like all the losses, are basically showing you in blue color, and all the profits are showing you in some orange color. We have to make this change. We have to make this change something like all the profits should be shown in the green color, and all the losses should be shown in the red color. So what I'll do, I'll go to this particular icon and make this edit color, right? and now I can assign it. Click on loss, make it red, click on profit, make it green, and just click OK. See here, this is something we were looking for, and now we have those available, right? That's something we were looking for. Let's quickly make some changes in this. Currently, what I have done for you is, I have taken only profit and loss. There might be something like when the, this profit amount is 0. In that case, what will happen? It will be neither profit nor loss, no profit, no loss. So can you add a, condition here, like when the profit value is 0, it should be no profit, no loss, and make this with gray colored. Can you make the change in the code quickly and in the report also, and confirm me once you are done, and make that with gray color or yellow color. So I hope you have done, like, if sum of profit is greater than 0, then it's profit. And then you might have added something called as else if statement here, right? If sum of profit is less than 0, then it's basically a loss. Else it's something like no profit, no loss, right? And then click OK. We don't have something. Let me change it. Let me change it to the original value and see if we have something like that. So I can make this here. I can make it none. Yeah. So we don't have any, profit with 0 value. So you are not able to see any other color, right? We just have 2 color, loss and profit. If there will be some, value with 0, right, that will be available in some different color, right? So that's how you can make the changes. So I'm just creating the same find actual cost, right? So I can create a calculator field for this, which will be like, I can make it as like cost price, and that cost price will be nothing but it will be the sales value minus profit value, right? Done. Now what you have to do is just drag the product name here, either in the row or over here, both works for the same purpose, right? And then drag the actual cost or cost price. Yeah, here it is. So it says, or you can, increase this width a bit so that, you'll be having, yeah, okay, I increase a lot. Yeah. So it's a like 1.7 cubic foot compact cube office refrigerator will cost somewhere around $1,216, right? This 3M office air cleaner will cost somewhere around $169, and so on. So these are the actual cost we are having, right? These are the actual costs. Like Xerox 2000 machine will cost $34 or something like this. Okay, so product cost, I'm just making the title, right? And let's make it 12 so that will look good. Yeah, now it looks good. Now let me tell you a little formatting of these tables, right? This table is nothing but it's exactly the same thing, this one, right? As you can see, this one we have. You can even make this little, changed also. Like you can create something called a highlighted table. This highlighted table will do something like, it will change the background. So as you can see, this particular 3D system cube printer second generation magenta is, having higher cost. So it has made the background little darker, right? So that's something, you can do. But for me, let's make this simple one. I don't need some complications, and make this fit width. Fit width will be in the entire one, right? But still it's not working so good. So what I'll do, I'll drag this and put it here. Okay. Now let's make some formatting options. Once you'll go to the format, you have an option called as cell size. By default, it will be a square cell. As you can see, text cell. You can make this to a square cell, right? Now you can see, it has been done little smaller again. If you want to make this a little bigger, you can make this taller. See here. Now it's looking far better what we had earlier. Now this particular table looks far better compared to what we had earlier. So you can play around this format option, look for the cell size, right? Like wider we are having, we are having bigger, smaller, narrower, and multiple things we are having. You can just play around it and can get your work done. You can play around other kind of, filter formatting options also. Like, you can change the format of this. I can right click on this, select format, right? And change this to some other format, or change the color of it also. So depending upon, your requirement, you can play around it and get your work done. So currently now it's in blue color, right? So depending upon your requirement, you can play around the different kind of color options we have available, different kind of formatting options we have available, and get your work done. Now, what I want is, let's understand this way. When I'm hovering on this, it's giving me the product name is 3-ring staple pack and cost price is 18. I want to show the, the sales price and profit also for this particular product when I hover on them. We have a function called as IIF. IIF is, something like, it will check the condition. Let me show you something like this. So there is something called as IIF function, IIF. So it has basically 3 arguments. First, you will check the condition. Second is, if the condition is true, then what will happen? And the third is, if the condition is false, then what will happen? So these are the 3 arguments we have. First, if the condition is, what is the condition? Then if the condition is true, then what will happen? If the condition is false, then what will happen? What I want you to do is check the condition whether sales is equal to 0 or not. If the sales is not equal to 0, if sales is not 0, then calculate discount by sales, else leave it 0. Can you quickly make this? Create a view for subcategory versus discount by sales. You can use IIF condition for that, IIF function. I hope you may have something like this. I'm just making that discount by profit, right? So if sales is not equal to 0, right, then discount divided by sales, else it should be 0. Now what I have to do is I just need to use subcategory. So you just use subcategory field here and drag this discount by profit here, right? And now what I'll do, I'll go to this highlight table and select it. As you can see, the higher the value, it's showing with a darker color. By default, you can see it's summation. If you want, you can even change this to, average. So just click it over there, go to measure, and instead of summation, you can select average value, right? You can select also the average for this particular color combination, so that we'll be having a proper variation, and that's something we were looking for. If further you need, you can click on this format option and make this little taller so that it will look little better. You can see this hash option here, just because it didn't get enough space to be visible. Just drag this a bit and you'll have a good report. Now it's looking better also and giving you exactly what you are looking for. So this way you can create the highlighted table. Along with that, you can create the calculated field to do your work done. Great then. See you. Bye.
Janbass Training. Learn and grow.